Well, good morning, everybody. CC and JMW in the house. And Chris, this storm is coming to fruition quite rapidly. Wow. Wow. Look
Yeah,
outside, man.
indeed, indeed. Yeah, or
10:38.
whatever you could see. Yeah,
It
you can
yeah,
barely see outside.
I have whiteout conditions, and my brother just texted me. He's in Central Jersey, has not seen intensity of this magnitude with snowfall in years. We are dealing with a crippling snowstorm throughout much of the tri-state area.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about right now getting into these bands of snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches plus per hour, and there's several of them stacked up. It's not like there's just one band that's heading in our direction. You can just see it on the radar just filling in, and we've already seen across a good chunk of the area 6 to 8 inches of snow, if not more in some parts. And this is kind of not even, maybe it's a third of the way into this storm at this point. The best way that we could put it.
Chris, that's the incredible part about this is going to be the duration. Now, I know people over in coastal Ocean County, it's pouring, but it is going to go back to snow. And let's get into this right now, Chris. We're going to take a look at the radar. This is the radar timestamp between quarter to 10 and 10:30. All the area of blue, folks, is snow. Now, the storm is intensifying. Chris said it's off Ocean City, Maryland, or Delaware coastline, and it's just going to sit and spin for the next 24 hours and ride very close to the coast. The incredible thing about this right now, this radar is timestamped from about 10 to 10:30. Excuse me. Take a look at this area of yellow and orange. That is 1 to 3 inch snowfall rates. Chris and I were talking about this. We thought maybe there'd be a bit of sleet in here. We had a little sleet earlier this morning, but folks, we have not seen snowfall rates and this banding, this mesoscale banding of heavy, heavy snow in years. Probably 2016 when Central Park, Chris, got 27.5 inches of snow. This thing is incredible. And what else do you want to add about this radar? I'm going to step out of the way and let you take the floor here. I mean, look at the little bit of dry slotting over Central Jersey, Chris. What do you think is going to happen with that in time?
Yeah, that's going to be the tricky part of the forecast too. I think most of the wild cards in terms of getting all snow or not, or a mix, or getting dry slotted, it's the eastern half of Long Island, portions of southern New Jersey. That's where some of this drier air is intruding. And you can see it on the far right-hand corner of the screen where it starts to turn a little black. That's drier air that's wrapping around the center of the storm. Where that ends up moving across is where you're going to get sort of robbed a little bit of the real heavy-duty snow. It looks right now like that would tend to be eastern Long Island. But there was something on the radar you showed before where you can actually delineate. There you go. Now, notice that rain-snow line. Notice the area of green. It's not pushing north anymore. It was, and it actually looks like the snow, the blue, is starting to push further south again. So that's an indication that the storm is intensifying and now beginning to draw cold air back into its circulation. So as you had mentioned, John, coastal areas of New Jersey that it's raining right now will gradually start to see a transition probably back over to snow as we go through the day today.
Yeah, Chris, and looking at this radar, this is a now casting situation, but I had just looked at the latest computer guidance, the 3 kilometer NAM. I cannot believe the amount of precipitation expected from 7 o'clock this morning through the next 48 to 60 hours. The bullseye is over north central New Jersey, right where this heavy precipitation is falling. Now, as Chris said, see this backing beginning to take place? Folks, that has to move back to the north and west as the storm stalls east of Atlantic City. This whole band right here is going to swing back. So after this is that, Chris, and the longevity of this thing is simply something that is incredible as we meteorologists look at this. Again, a handful of times we have a storm with cold air in place and upper level low stalling for 24 hours. Remember, it began snowing. Right. It began snowing mid-afternoon, and some places at noon yesterday. Yes, there was a lull this morning.
Yesterday, right.
There was a lull this morning,
yeah, I think
as expected.
I think where you are, when you go to Somerset County, portions of Morris County, and there's going to be that band that's probably over 2 feet, maybe 24 to even locally 28 inches of snow, maybe even 30 in a couple of spots, because you already had the head start on top of that. But again, as we watch the storm go through the day today and tonight, it's not racing up the coastline. It's captured by that upper level low. That's what we were talking about. That very rarely happens around these parts, at least in the position that this one is going to occur. And that's why we're going to see 48 plus hours of snowfall around here. let's be honest. I mean, that really doesn't happen very often. In my lifetime, I've not seen that happen very much. Like I said yesterday, we were talking about the storm of February 1978 was something like this. So
Correct.
again, that will put down 18 to 24 inches across the area with a plus 30-inch amounts as you went north and west of the city. So that could certainly happen again with this one.
Yeah, Chris, an amazing event here. And what will happen in time is, as we look at the radar, the computer models do suggest that a warm tongue by tonight will get over Long Island, and it may go over to a bit of a drizzle. It may be 34 degrees, but from the city on west, that band is supposed to set up shop and just sit. Now, we won't have the intensity that we see right now with the half dollar size flakes. I mean, they're half dollar size flakes. I have a white, right now, I have a whiteout, and it's been like this for 2 hours. I must have 10 to 12 inches of snow on the ground here in Hunterdon County. We're not going to see this type of colorization, like let's say tomorrow, because we're going to be on that back side of the storm, right? It's not going to be this intense, almost thunderstorm type situation that's happening right now. Yeah.
Well, again, I think even during the day tomorrow, while you said we will not see the heavy output like that, there could occasionally be some moderate bands of snow that still come through. I've seen that, with these upper level lows, there will be, again, some narrow bands where the snow falls fairly heavily for a shorter duration, but you could easily tack on another 2 to 4 inches during the day tomorrow with the additional snow into tomorrow evening in parts of the area, except maybe eastern Long Island, like you said.
Yeah, and that's good that you said that, Chris, because here's what we can expect. Again, we're expecting this storm long duration through tomorrow evening. Now, Long Island, we're going to talk about that in a second. This morning to this afternoon into this evening is the brunt of the storm. Winds are going to increase to 55 miles an hour if they're not so already down the Jersey coastline and through portions of Long Island. Heavy snow, 1 to 3 inches an hour. Thunder snow, as we said. I love the term thunder snow, almost as much as I love the word bombogenesis. And whiteout conditions. Yes, and whiteout conditions through this evening. And then tomorrow, again, where that dry air gets in there and the low wraps around, Long Island may go from heavy snow, and you're going to get hammered today, kids, in Long Island. You're going to probably go over to a mix because a warm tongue of air is going to come up east of the Atlantic City area, right through central and eastern Long Island, but your snow would have already fallen by then. And Chris, why don't we take it away and show what we're thinking at this time with the snow amounts? What do you think has changed? This is where we're still thinking this, but what are your thoughts?
Well, again, the main difficult part of the forecast is going to be eastern Suffolk County and coastal New Jersey. Like you said, in Ocean County, near the coast, it's pouring right now. So 4 to 8 inches of snow, it's a possibility if you add up what they had before changed over and what they're going to get on the backside of this. But I do think from central Suffolk County on east, as you just talked about, they could get sort of pseudo dry slotted and enough warm air that they just go to a little drizzle tonight while it's still snowing at a pretty decent clip from, let's say, Nassau, Queens border on west throughout New Jersey and into the Hudson Valley. So that's where the tricky part of the forecast is going to come. I don't think on that map, as you see, the 12 to 20 plus covering all of Suffolk County or almost most of it. Probably not. There's probably going to be parts of Suffolk County that sort of get gypped a little bit on this, especially the South Fork. But, you're indicating that with the 8 to 12. But that is the bust area, I would say, potential at least, for maybe really not quite getting the blockbuster snow amounts.
Right.
But everybody else, I think, is in it.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to get to the jackpot zone on who gets the highest amounts and what our thoughts are. Because, Chris, you and I have the same motto. We do not hype our forecasts. We just don't. We tell it like it is. Realists, we don't want. We never did it on the tube on television. I never hyped the forecast, even though maybe some of our bosses wanted that punch of extreme. Chris and I, no hype, no nonsense. Here we are, and the jackpot zone, Chris. What are you thinking? Where's there going to be? Where's there going to be? Is there going to be a 24 to 30 somewhere?
I think, anywhere from, portions of Hunterdon County, maybe even northern Somerset, southern half of Morris County. That seems to be, and you could even probably extend that a little bit further east through New Jersey. Right in there.
Right
I
in
think
there.
that could be I think that could be your 24, maybe
Actually,
more.
And maybe even up to Sussex, because they do very well on the backside of storms.
That's true too. Yeah, it's probably going to linger there even longer. I mean, there were some indications. I just was looking at a couple of the models before. They still had snow flurries and snow showers in Northeast PA and Northwest New Jersey through Wednesday morning.
Crazy.
Wednesday morning.
Crazy.
So, not that there'd be any significant accumulation of that, but just to think of the duration of this storm for parts of the area, it is a rare beast in that regard. Every storm is different, you know.
It is. It is.
Going back, by the way, real quickly to your hype thing. I had a little run-in on Facebook. I have too much time in my hands, but one of our colleagues, who I respect quite a bit, he was posting information, the latest information on the storm. And somebody chimed in with, snow, that's all you guys ever do, and then it never happens. I'm tired. It never happens.
Wow.
I'm tired of the hype.
Wow.
Last week you said a snowstorm is coming, and I had a few flurries, and I'm thinking, well, last week we were going like 1 to 2 inches. I wouldn't say we were screaming a big snowstorm.
Correct.
But the problem becomes, and like you said, as individuals, the meteorologist sometimes gets lost in the bigger machine,
yes.
which is hype.
Yes, which is the hype.
And I always struggle with that. I know you did too.
Yeah, I struggle with it. I also, when we had a little bit of sleet this morning at my house and there was a lull, I bet there were people out there saying, "Oh, this isn't going to happen."
Oh, there it goes.
There it goes. Listen, folks.
That's it.
This is happening. This is happening. This band is dropping, I would say, 2 to 3 inches of snow an hour. And again, Chris, I'm excited about this. We said it's the Super Bowl of football. Dun. Shh. How about Tom Brady?
Right. Good timing, huh?
How about Tom Brady, Chris?
Ridiculous. Oh, he's a middle-aged warrior. That's what
I mean, wow, we're getting off track here, but good for him. Good for the guy. He leaves that team.
I mean, I'm not a Tom Brady.
I'm not either, but good for him.
Right.
Another team,
but you have
another
to respect.
Super Bowl.
You have to respect.
Best quarterback.
You have to respect the guy.
Best quarterback in football. Period. End of story.
Incredible.
Let's get Chris. If you have comments on your Facebook page, because the software is not picking it up. Questions, gents. Once midnight rolls around, will the winds diminish? Somewhat, Chris. What are your thoughts on that?
By midnight, yeah. I think by midnight, perhaps, you won't be seeing. I think the peak gusts are really going to be probably from about 1, 2 o'clock this afternoon till about 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. That's the 40, 50 plus mile an hour gust, the possible power outage inducing type gusts of wind. But probably still around midnight, you're still going to be seeing gusts around 30 miles per hour, maybe sustained 20, 25. And that'll linger, I think, overnight. The wind will shift probably a little bit from the northeast to eventually more of a northerly direction as we go through the day tomorrow, maybe even slightly northwest, and not quite as. The thing about this storm, by the way, the real weather geeks out there who are looking at this, what we call synoptically, meaning, the barometric pressure, they're looking at the isobars. This is not an exceptionally deep storm. This is not a bombogenesis type storm.
Nice point. Yeah, no, I'm Chris.
Right?
You know what? And as I'm going to finish your sentence because I can. Look what's happening, though.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right, and it proves the point that you don't need that necessarily.
Right, bombogenesis, and I love the word, is the genesis or the birth of a bomb atmospherically, meaning a storm. And that's not happening.
Right. It's rapid deepening.
Yeah, rapid deepening. That is not happening, but we have a pretty intense storm. Let me go to this radar. Of course, my phone, got to reload that app. Hold on one second. Minor stuff, folks, minor stuff.
And also the point being, the storm, the reason we still have the strong winds, we have a strong pressure gradient. There's a strong high pressure over Quebec and Canada.
Yes, yep.
So the difference between that up to the north and the low pressure up the coast is creating the strong pressure gradient on the northwest side of the storm. So that's what, in fact, I think, to be perfectly honest, I don't know how you feel about it. If this storm really deepened considerably more, it probably would have tapped in more warm air and we would see rain in the city. And all of Long Island and coastal areas, I think, if this were a much more intense, right?
Yeah, 100% agree with you. Snow lovers, we're lucky that the storm isn't doing bombogenesis because Chris is right. You're dragging that warmth because we just have that wedge of Arctic air just enough to cause that heavy snow. And, my temperature here in Hunterdon County is about 25. My dew point is still like 20. So there's a little playroom there.
You're locked in, I think.
Yeah.
I think
Chris, coastal flooding before we wrap this up, because I got to see this. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the coastal flooding at the times of high tide?
Well, I think some folks are actually going through it right now. Round one it was, I think, between 10 and 11 o'clock through a good part of the area. It varies from coastal areas of New Jersey into Long Island as well. But I think the fact that they're going to see 2, potentially 3 high tide cycles in this storm with that wind direction, and each one may get progressively worse, because in particular in the back bay areas where they get socked in with the water, the low tide, it doesn't all back out, and the next high tide comes in. So you're building on top of each time. So there's definitely going to be some moderate, and maybe some areas we talked about yesterday, like Freeport, Long Island, those areas
Right.
Along the South Shore, and even some of the Bay areas in New Jersey that tend to be more problematic. You're going to have a problem, I think, and it's going to be getting worse as we go through tonight's high tide cycle.
I agree 100% with you, Chris. And really, to wrap this up, again, folks, the bust zone for snow amounts, Chris and I are still thinking in this area right here, okay? You're going to go back to snow in Ocean County if it's raining right now. The question is how much moisture comes in, because there's going to be a little bit of a dry slot, and the heaviest precipitation band, the radar actually shows it pretty good right now, even though this is going to be backdated in time. We have to see what happens in this area, because if this pivots back, and we think it will, this will all fill in. But right now, that heavy arcing, heavy yellows and oranges, deep colors right there, snowflakes, somebody just said, falling the size of $half and rocks, like huge as can be.
Yeah.
So I think the jackpot, Chris, is going to be somewhere in northern New Jersey, possibly the city, north and west of there, you know, with the amounts that we're talking about, as we said. Could somebody get isolated 2 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yeah, certainly. I think like, you know, I think that if you took the state of New Jersey, the north, and you divide them to threes, the northern third in particular is the area that's going to see easily close to, you know, 18 to 24 inches without blinking the eye on this one. I'm pretty confident about that. It's when you get across coastal New Jersey and even eastern Long Island where there's a little fluctuation there, and there could be some snow that gets washed away a little bit or compacted, and then a little drizzle, and then it snows a little bit on top of that again. So that's going to be the tricky part. But it's always hard to, you know, you're never going to be able to nail snow accumulations in this entire tri-state area at any given storm. I'm sorry, I don't care
Chris,
who you are.
We are expected to, bud. People expect that. You know, we're not throwing it at the weather dartboard. You know, we're just spinning and 24. Oh, we got the 24. So just to recap here,
exactly.
guys.
You know, people think, people think when you're wrong, you're not doing your job. No, because we're predicting the future that hasn't happened yet. When most people don't go around doing that. But continue, John. I'm sorry. I had to get that off my chest.
No worries. I wanted that off your chest. To make a long story short, we're going to wrap this up. The brunt of the storm is now through late this evening. Incredible snowfall rates. High winds. I'm concerned about isolated power outages through midnight tonight, especially along the coastal areas. The wind maximum field will come up between about, let's say, 1 and 4 or 5 o'clock. Everything all right over there?
I had to throw something at my dog. He's chewing on my shoe right now.
Bring Stella in here. Tula, not Stella.
Oh, Tula. Tula, get over here, Tula. Go ahead. You keep doing what you're doing. I'll get a cameo. She's chewing on my new sneakers.
Where did he go? No, it's all good. So anyway, that's the brunt of the storm this afternoon. Look at Tula. He or she?
She.
Yeah.
This is the bad girl.
Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. Bring her up to the camera. Oh, look at
mug.
Tula. Tula,
this is how she gets away with things.
Hasn't Chris taught you anything? Straight ahead.
You're not camera savvy. I can see that. No, she's looking at the cat. That's why. The cat's on that side.
Gotcha.
Anyway, continue, John.
Anyway, listen. This is an incredible storm. Crippling snowstorm for, I would say, 2/3 of the tri-state area. Please use caution. Shoveling out there, you know, if you want to take it in shifts, meaning every 6 hours, or just let it all dump and then do it at the end. Obviously, that's up to you. It's going to be a heavy, wet snow, especially right along the coastal areas. Once that rain does go over to snow, and it's just going to be a powdery Champaign, Utah-type snow over northwestern New Jersey, and in between, a typical snowfall, but obviously not atypical snow amounts for this time of the year. Central Park's record, Chris, is 27.5 inches in 2016. 2016. So who knows? Somebody may get 27 inches. I'm not saying it's going to be widespread, but you never know. But we're going to fine tune and watch the radar, Chris and I. Don't be surprised if you see flashes of lightning, rumbles of thunder. Thunder snow gets me going. It does, just like Genesis.
And Jim Cantori,
And Jim Cantori. 9 inches in Hazlitt.
You get old Cantori on us?
9 inches in Hazlitt. Okay. So you guys keep giving us your amounts, your town. And We're having a great time. I'm getting over a cold, so that's why I'm dealing with what I'm doing here. Actually, it was more than a cold, but I'm fine.
Yes. But get some tea and honey and do
Oh
what
no,
you can.
absolutely. Listen, I love what I do. I love doing it with you, sir, and maybe we'll do this later this evening because there may be some more
Yeah.
stuff to talk about, obviously.
Check back in. I'm not going anywhere.
Neither am I. Neither am I, Chris.
I hope
Chris,
to not eat too much today.
No, or drink.
All right, bud.
Take care,
Well,
Chris.
that might be by this evening. We'll see. All right. Have a good one, bud.
See
Catch
you
up
later. Bye-bye.
Stay safe.